y'all, but I am ready for NFL season, you know what I mean? But what's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy, Jay Willie Silly, man, aka Mr. Take. It's no point. It's no point, bro, it's no point of watching camp. I do not care about camp. You know what I mean? Honestly, I don't care about camp, bro. Honestly, and it's like camp is nothing, bro. Camp is nothing. I'm a preseason dude. I want to see the preseason. You know what I mean? Honestly, you know, and it just is what it is. You know what I mean? But what's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy Jay Willie Silly, man, aka Mr. Take It Easy. Before you end up like these, make sure you follow my Instagram and Twitch in the description down below. Everything you know about your boy Jay is in the description down below. We got how one mistake changed the NFL forever. Forever, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready, man. I'm ready, man. You said, did I react to it last year? I reacted to some camp highlights last year. I really didn't react to a lot of camp highlights, bro. I reacted to some, though, but not a lot. I'm really just worried about the preseason. I'm going to react to preseason games, bro. I want to see how they look when they actually have pressure. You know what I mean? You just standing in the pocket, bro. That's really nothing, bro, you know, compared to, you know, if a freaking Micah Parsons coming at you, freaking, you know what I mean, Chris Jones coming at you, you know what I'm saying? So preseason really going to determine, even though them type of guys not going to play in the preseason, but I want to see pass rush.
So, this is John Lynch. You may recognize him. Currently, he's the GM for the San Francisco 49ers. But before all his GM glory, he was a player. A very good player at that.
We're the best secondary in this house. We're the best team in this house. Win on three. 1, 2, 3.
As a safety, his playing style was characterized by his intelligence on the field and his leadership qualities, both of which contributed significantly to the success of the teams he played for. Most of his career being with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he won a Super Bowl.
Buccaneers win! Buccaneers win! Buccaneers win in San Diego! The Lombardi Trophy resides in Tampa, Florida. How about them Buccaneers?
Then eventually moving on to Denver to play for the Broncos in 2004.
I'd like to say that I'll always be a Buccaneer. You know, I'll be playing someplace else next year, and I look forward to that. But I'll always be a Buccaneer.
And that junk hard though. Ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like that junk is hard, bro. You know, like imagine, bro, you playing like your whole career. You know what I mean? As a Buccaneer, and then have to. I gotta understand, man. NFL is a business at first. It's a business. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. You know.
A year under Coach Mike Shanahan's
system. Be hard, bro. Moving and transitioning, bro.
Broncos defense. The team with a previous record of 10-6 the year before was a powerhouse with playoff aspiration, and Lynch's leadership was instrumental in the playoff push.
You guys are trying to kill me. I'll tell you what. You guys fought. We lost a little bit right there at the end. But you managed to come back and stay in there and fight your ass off. That's what's all.
So, the stage was set for another playoff berth with their record at 12-3 with the final game of the season against their division rivals, the San Diego Chargers, led by head coach Marty Schottenheimer and their star quarterback, Drew Brees.
Are you still kind of pinching yourself that you're actually a professional football
player? And look, hold on. Why we don't talk about Drew Brees? You know what I'm saying? Why we don't talk about Drew Brees when it comes to like quarterback discussions, bro? You know what I mean? Drew Brees, in my opinion, bro, is a top 5 quarterback of all time. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. Drew Brees, in my opinion, top 5 quarterback of all time. My top 5 quarterbacks of all time: Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. We can go with Joe Montana. You know what I mean? Joe Montana. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I got Joe Montana. I'll say Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady. Say Joe Montana, number 3. Number 4, I'll go with A-Rod. Number 5, I'll go with Drew Brees. You know what I mean? Honestly, you know what I'm saying? You say I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. But did you just say you don't think that he's talking about ban him? But did you just say you don't think Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer? Yeah, I'm not even finna respond, bro.
Yeah, I do, because this was my ultimate goal when I was a kid, and you know, you'll think, oh, this is crazy, but it was, I wanted to be the only man to play professional football, baseball, and basketball.
He trolling, bro. The man trolling.
Drew was a rising QB in the league. However, he was on a one-year prove-it deal. 2 years prior, the Chargers were tied for the worst record in the league, where Brees struggled and was ultimately replaced by Doug Flutie mid-season. However, with his starting job on the line and the franchise drafting his potential replacement in Phillip Rivers, Drew would have a breakout 2004 season and get his first Pro Bowl selection, as well as NFL Comeback Player of the Year. So, with just another okay season at 9-6 the following year, and the Chargers already eliminated from making the playoffs, Drew needed a win in this last game against the Broncos to solidify his new contract and his position as the starting quarterback for the Chargers. But unfortunately, John Lynch had other plans.
Dang.
John Lynch knocked it out.
Nigga ran right into Drew Brees, bro.
I think Drew Brees got hurt on that play going for that fumble. He has been hit a lot this year from behind. It's the blitz from the outside. John Lynch unblocked.
It wasn't even John Lynch that injured him.
And when you try to recover a fumble in this league, there are a lot of bodies flying after it.
And just that quick, he was done. In an ultimately meaningless game, Drew suffered a torn labrum and damage to his rotator cuff, in addition to dislocating his shoulder. The injury to Brees would require surgery during the offseason, and ultimately would have a longer recovery period than initially anticipated. According to his doctors, he would only have a 25% chance of ever playing football again.
As much as I wanted to believe in my heart, you know, that I was going to come back and I was going to come back stronger. I mean, that was my mindset and my, you know, everything in my being was saying that. Still, there was reality. I hope I can come back and do this.
It wasn't all doom and gloom, though. The Chargers still would offer Drew a contract, but there was a catch. It was incentive-based and had little to no guaranteed money. Drew would take the contract as an insult and decide to test free agency for the first time ever in his career. But Drew would need a team to believe not only in his action, but that he would ultimately make a full recovery. Unfortunately, it was crickets.
Yeah, bro, I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. Like, man, forget all that, bro. You know what I mean? Forget all that talking about I can't play football again. 25% chance I won't be able to play football again, man. That's BS, man. You know what I mean? That's BS. You feel me? You telling me I ain't gonna, man, a doctor telling me I ain't gonna be able to play football again, man. Man, please. Please. A little rehab, man. Keep on working at it, man. Man, you crazy, boy. Man, a doctor tell me, man, I can't play football again, man. It's gonna be a...
But that he would...
49ers also extended Fred Warner? Why wouldn't they?
Ultimately make a full recovery.
That's linebacker in the league.
Unfortunately, it was crickets. A handful of teams were interested early on, but in the end, only two teams showed serious interest: New Orleans and Miami. With newly hired head coach Sean Payton, the Saints were looking for a new franchise quarterback to bring life to not only a team that had gone 3-13 the previous season, but to a city that had just gone through Katrina, one of the worst hurricanes to ever hit Louisiana.
This is a Fox News alert. Officials in New Orleans are bracing for the worst, bracing for a direct hit, which is just hours away. The Category 5 hurricane
Katrina messed New Orleans up, bro.
Hours from slamming the Louisiana coast, a first ever in history, a direct hit in Louisiana. Hundreds of thousands of people evacuating all weekend long out of that city that lies 12 feet below sea level. Forecasters say the conditions have to be absolutely perfect to have a hurricane become this strong and intense.
On the flip side, Miami, with a second-year coach
Nick Saban
that had just finished the previous season with a respectable 9-7 record, was reportedly very interested in Brees, seeing him as a potential game-changer for the team. It was widely known that Saban wanted Drew and would do anything to get him, and the feeling was mutual.
Really, the two teams that came calling were the Miami Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints. And I think just on the surface, before visiting either team, before meeting with either coach, on the surface, Miami seemed like the obvious choice, right? They were an up-and-coming team. Nick Saban, super talented head coach, handled the defenses.
Why y'all think that Nick Saban, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like left the Dolphins. You know what I mean? It's maybe because he didn't want to deal with grown men being entitled. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I what's the reason? Did he get fired? You know what I mean? I really don't know the reason why he left the NFL, bro. Did he get fired, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
side of the ball.
I don't know.
A couple of their offensive staff.
I don't know what happened behind that.
Same offense that we were running in San Diego, which I liked. And then, you're going to Miami, right? On the surface, it was like, all right, well, Miami's the obvious choice.
However, the front office had serious concerns with Drew's injury and wasn't as sold on the idea as much as Saban was. They would believe that the better option at the time was to trade for Vikings quarterback Daunte Culpepper. But despite those concerns, Saban would get his way, and Miami would start the process of signing Drew Brees. But first, he had to pass the team physical.
We were going to sign Drew Brees as a free agent or trade for Daunte Culpepper, and both guys had been operated on in Birmingham by Dr. Andrews and Dr. King. And he actually said Drew Brees would be fine. Then our doctors in Miami didn't see it that way, but we had the deal done.
Despite what was told to Saban, Brees would fail his physical and ultimately not get a chance to sign with Miami. They would later go on to trade for Daunte Culpepper instead. This one decision
turned out to be trash.
This one mistake would have a ripple effect that would go on to change the course of not only the NFL, but the entire sport of football.
See, I done front office.
2 months post-op on an injury that was supposed to be an 8-month injury. So for somebody to say we're going to fail you on your physical, I mean, obviously I wasn't in a position at the time where I could move my arm very well. I mean, I could barely lift my shoulder up, to the kind of shoulder level, right? So I knew I was going to have to sell myself, right, and all those things to whoever it was that was coming after me, and it was then just their job to believe that.
Side note, there are reports that Saban had the final decision between Brees and Culpepper and played a large part in signing Culpepper over Brees. Thus, with making the wrong decision, he's been spending the last decade changing the narrative, but who knows? But what I do know is Drew would ultimately sign a 6-year, $60 million contract with the New Orleans Saints, including an $8 million signing bonus and $20 million of that $60 million guaranteed.
Emerald wrote me a little note that said if I became a New Orleans Saint that he cooked my first meal here. So, Emerald, if you're watching and listening, I'll be expecting that here pretty soon.
It was a gamble, but it was one they had to take. The Saints needed a familiar name as the marquee for ticket sales, since they would be returning to New Orleans that season due to relocating the previous year for Katrina. But for the Saints fans, or even the NFL world in general, I don't think they saw this coming.
I know the New Orleans Saints, man, bro. I know y'all Saints fans, man. I know y'all miss Drew Brees, boy. I ain't gonna lie, the Saints is a freaking laughing stock right now. I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's like, especially how y'all started off last season. Couldn't believe how y'all finished off. I thought the Saints was going to make a deep run, bro. I'm like, okay. Saints looking nice. Started off the season well, bro, and just ended terrible, bro. I don't know what happened to the Saints. Then y'all draft a little scrub quarterback. Oh, what's y'all? Hey, what Madden is that, chat? What Madden is that? What Madden is that? They don't know about that. I ain't gonna say they don't know about that though. I ain't gonna lie to you. They don't know about that though. I ain't gonna lie.
On the other hand, according to most sources, Saban, feeling a lack of trust from the Dolphins front office, would coach his last season in the NFL, stating it was no longer fun. He would eventually go back to college, where a head coaching job at Alabama would recently open up. And yeah, we kind of all know what happens after that.
And Saban steps past Paul Bryant with his 7th
I miss you, my boy.
national championship.
I miss you, boy. Miss you, Saban, bro.
All-time leader now in college football national championships. He'll savor it for about an hour and then think about 2021.
And this is what I like to call the butterfly effect. A concept where one small, seemingly insignificant event can have massive, far-reaching consequences. If John Lynch never makes that play, Drew never gets that injury. I think he still was going to become a free agent regardless, simply based on the fact he drafted his replacement in Rivers, but he would have passed the Miami physical and became the new franchise quarterback of the Dolphins led by Nick Saban. And with his new marquee piece, he probably never leaves the NFL to go back and coach college to become arguably the greatest college coach of all time.
Everything happens for a reason.
He goes on to win at least one Super Bowl, and in that division, I'm not sure the Patriots become a dynasty, having to face a Nick Saban, Drew Brees led Miami team twice a year. And what about the Saints? Well, they probably continue their quarterback search. However, it would have been highly unlikely to get a top free agent quarterback with options to go to a franchise who at the time was relocating and in talks of moving out of New Orleans permanently. So, they probably would have
got rid of Mid-Row.
And instead of drafting Reggie Bush that year, they'd probably go with the #1 rated quarterback coming fresh off a national title. If you ever run into John Lynch, tell him thanks, because without him, you never received those years of success and dominance. Also, with all that happened with Drew and the Dolphins, ironically, Brees did ultimately win a Super Bowl in Miami. Till next time.
Drew Brees, man. You know what I mean? That's the end of the stream, though, chat. You know what I'm saying? That is the end of the stream. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody for joining the stream, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you know your boy Jay got to go. You know, the boxing practice, man. The things that I do not want to do, I got to do, man. I do not feel like going, bro, but I'm going to go, man. Got to go every single day, man, to become better every single day. But I appreciate everybody for joining the stream, man. You know what I mean? Honestly, man, it's been a good stream. You know, if you did, you know what I mean, join the stream late, you know, everything will be transferred from Twitch to YouTube. So make sure y'all follow my second channel too for the freaking oh my God, I hate when I forget what I'm finna say, bro. Follow my gaming channel, man. Follow my gaming channel, bro. Link in the description. Follow my Twitch. Link in the description down below. Your boy Jay out, man.